Hello and welcome to another Imperator Rome video. So, we have not had a dev diary in a couple of weeks, and I believe that is because our hero has been ill, but today we did, however, get a patch for the game, and it is something that has been kind of needed. I'm hoping in here is going to be something to do with finding people to marry, because that's been a little bit of a problem since the character rework. With, I think it was Livy that came out. So I've gone through a little bit of the change notes. I haven't gone through the full thing, but let's go through it now. We'll see what's changed. I'll give my opinions on what's changed and if it's, better or worse or whatever. And yeah, we'll just see what's different. So for game balance, population output from occupied territories has been reduced by 20%. So this is going to make it so that your enemies that you have completely occupied are not going to be spamming you with a ton of mercenaries because they simply can't afford them now. They're, reducing their output by 20%. It's a good start. Manpower from tribesmen and freemen has been reduced by 45%. This is a huge nerf to them both. I feel like it's kind of necessary though, especially since the since the food rework in Cicero, manpower in single player has just been completely non-consequential. So reducing the amount of manpower in the game is another really good thing. So yeah, 2 out of 2 so far. Non-primary dominant culture territories now provide 20% less output. This is for, you've conquered somewhere, they're the wrong culture, now they're going to be giving you less, and, that's also fine in my book. It's interesting that they're going with a rework to culture when we're getting the culture rework next big update with Menanda. But I guess, it's a stopgap, or maybe just testing something out for that patch. That might be it. Who knows? Moving province capital now reduces province loyalty instead of political influence. I like this a lot. I like this a hell of a lot. Especially when you conquer new territory, you always feel like you need to move the provincial capitals to somewhere that isn't completely stupid. And, not using your political influence is a good thing, especially as the amount of stuff that you're spending political influence on, I don't want it to just keep being ramped up and up and up until it becomes just another source of mana. I like it. This makes sense to me. It's no longer possible to move a provincial capital if you're below 50 province loyalty, up from 33%. That's good. Moving a province capital to a city, or even more so a metropolis, will result in a lesser hit. Fantastic. Because quite often you see when you've taken some new territory, it's been put in some settlement when there's a perfectly suitable city right there. So yeah, I like it. It's good. It's good. It's good. I like it. Slightly reduced pop type happiness reductions from passive Deity modifiers. So these are things like the passive bonus for a god gives you plus 10% pop happiness. It's now going to be slightly less, which is, making the individual gods a little bit less overpowered, making it so that there aren't any gods that are like must picks for the passives. Decent, good. Macedon will be far more likely to oppose Phrygian demands in the initial Diadochi War event series. Great, having that war fire is pretty important for the game being, interesting in that region. So I like that. Slightly reduced base experience decay for units. Sorry, slightly reduced. Perfect. Make your troops stay trained for longer. Really helps with the military experience as well. Increased war exhaustion from battles. This already got increased with Archimedes, and now it's been increased again. So that's an interesting one. I really liked the change to it. I liked that it increased war exhaustion from battles, and if they're doing that further again, that's going to make it so that, people aren't going to be able to stay at war indefinitely. The more battles you take, the more war exhaustion. War exhaustion is 1-to-1 with unrest, so that's really something that you've got to manage. Tweaked military traditions to reduce very expensive units in mercenary stacks, elephants and heavy cavalry. Yeah, reducing the very expensive units in mercenary stacks. So I guess making the super good merc stacks slightly less good, which is fine, I guess. You know, having... I mean, the merc stacks are never been... they've never been something that I've taken for the troops in them. Numbers, yes, but the specific units, not really. So I'm not sure I'm entirely on board with this one. Like, I don't think it affects too much, to be perfectly honest. It's the general and just the numbers. Maybe you need them for a siege or something. But, yeah, I mean, fine, whatever. Characters. Halved how much money is gained from selling characters into slavery, because the sight of your former adversaries toiling in the salt mine is the real reward. Yeah, people were making a ton of money from selling characters into slavery, and now that's been halved, so fine, I'm okay with that. Halve the loyalty impact, decay rate, and the maximum from giving away holdings. Really making you work on your character loyalty. You could quite frequently just avoid a civil war just by throwing holdings at people again and again and again, and you know, now you're gonna have to do that a bit more. It'll stay loyal for longer, and you won't be able to do that as much. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. Characters now gain loyalty from being made generals or admirals. Fantastic, good. Just as they do when they're given an office or governorship. This may reduce the possibility of, you know, making somebody a general. Immediately they get a bunch of power base and then become disloyal and try and start a civil war, especially if it's your only army. Good change to that. That's going to fix a lot of people's problems when it comes to loyalty. So, heritages. Argive heritage increased from 2% ruler popularity to 4%. To match other ruler popularity gain heritages. That's Argos, I believe. Spartakid heritage, that is Bosporan Kingdom, now gives higher defensiveness instead of discipline. That's... Oh, Spartakid heritage was so good. Defensiveness is nice, I guess. Pontic and Massalian heritages change from wrong culture happiness to wrong culture group happiness. This is a big bonus to both of them, especially Massalia. Having Massalia have wrong culture group happiness was kind of useless unless you decided to go from your, you know, your colony in southern Gaul, and you wanted to invade Greece. It made very little sense for it to be wrong culture happiness, so wrong culture group happiness, fantastic, great stuff. Pontic as well, that's one that people have been, I say people, but it's mostly been Hashinshin, have been complaining about for ever so long, and it seems like his complaints have been listened to. The Epirate heritage, which has always been kind of trash, now gives lower commerce instead of fewer diplomatic relations. This is a big, big boost to Epirus. It also now gives global freeman output instead of a war exhaustion reduction. That's another really nice bonus. I imagine it's still got its rather terrible light infantry bonus though. So if we look at the heritage, commerce income, freeman output, light infantry discipline. Oh, I still am not entirely on board with light infantry discipline. It's just there. If light infantry, as I've said elsewhere, were the counter to elephants, I'd be totally on board with it. But it's just not that useful. For the AI will be more reluctant to change its worship deities simply because it can. It will be more mindful of conserving its stability. Good stuff. I haven't actually seen this as an issue, but if it has been, then it's flew under the radar for me, but yeah, fix it, it's good. It'll better consider naval access when declaring wars, good. Achievements, some changes here. Changed every country-specific achievement to have a variable backup, so even if you change the country name through a reformable or a mission, you should still be able to get the achievement in question. Sparta can now gain Molan Labe and Laconic If, even if they form another country. Not affect game start before the 1.4.2 patch, though. And Meroitic culture countries can now be valid for the New Kingdom achievement. That was an issue for all of these guys down here. So very often the New Kingdom achievement was as a... It's basically form Egypt and turn your succession laws to be familial. And I did that as Kush. Apparently that was no longer possible because they weren't of the right culture group. They couldn't form Egypt because they're not Egyptian culture group. But now that's been changed, so they can, so another good change there. Fixed formables for the 2 new culture groups, Meroitic and Illyrian. Added 2-year cooldown per territory for the city sacking event, ruler-led armies. That's good. I thought that was changed in the last patch, but apparently not. Yeah, no, that's really good. There was a pretty... I'd call it an exploit, where you could siege a city that was adjacent to a fort with your ruler, gain a ton of money, hopping back on the boats for a month, wait until that city had been besieged by the fort, go back, rinse, repeat, make a ton of money. So the cooldown, it's a good idea. Planning for war mission, reward increased from 2.5 to 5 military experience. Good, because I always felt that 2.5 was very, very minor. Spartan mission tasks, reincorporating Messenia and lands of Messenia will no longer ask you for a building you cannot build in the territory. I assume this was either an aqueduct or something like asking for a settlement building or a city building in a, you know, the opposite. So yeah, great. Fixing that is good. The mission task, Greek allies and subduing Greece mission, will now highlight the potential nations when you hover over the task, making it easier to find nations that might be relevant for it. That is for Rome, and that was one that really, really annoyed me when I was doing my Roman campaign. So yes, very good to have that fixed, or rather, you know, highlighting the nations that are possible to do it with. Magi not being a city at the start has now been fixed. Tutorial, I still haven't done this. Objective to build a larger navy now requires a navy of 10 ships rather than 20. Build a larger army now requires 12,000 men rather than 30,000. Fine, whatever. Tag exclusive deities will no longer disappear or become unavailable after you complete a formable or otherwise change names in some way. Good. Didn't know that was a problem, but it's good that that's been fixed. Now we get to the bug fixes. Fixed a bug resulting in characters acquiring multiple spouses. That was a rather funny one that's been all over Reddit. It's like, oh, this person has 12 wives. So yeah, that's nice that that's fixed. Fixed a bug that calls all Roman characters at start to belong to the same party. I didn't see that one, but that's kind of a big problem, especially if they become populists. So yeah, fantastic. Fix more missing localizations in Spanish. Fix combat deployment issue for multiple larger armies. Yeah, it did seem like when you were fighting really large armies, you only really had to fight one of them. The other guys wouldn't join in, so that's probably going to make combat with bigger nations a bit more difficult, which is good. Armies without a leader now also loot provinces instantly. Province loot modifier is now visible right away in the tooltip. Good. Armies with no food detaching support units will no longer result in creation of food out of thin air. Fantastic. Finally, that is a huge, huge fix. I'm glad that that's finally been done. Although I will say that unless they fix the issue where you can't get food in an ally's territory, that's going to be... I mean, that was the way that you could, you know, prevent yourself from starving when you're helping your ally. Hopefully that's fixed somewhere here. Armies no longer calls food to be added to the province they're in, because, wow, the 30 Years' War would have looked a lot different if it was true. Armies no longer calls food to be added to the province they're in. I did not see that at all. That's very strange. But yeah, fixed it. It's good. Fixed bug that caused subjects to cheekily draw manpower from their overlord instead of transferring manpower to their overlord. Those bastards. Yeah, stop that. Fixed starting ships sometimes being run twice in Iron Man. Yeah, I noticed that as well. When you created an Iron Man save, you basically had to create the save twice. So, good that that's fixed. Number of rare crashes and out of syncs. Always good to get those out of syncs gone. trade view resetting, sorting whether a trade route was cancelled or accepted. That's fucking awesome. Finally. That's been in since 1.0. Oh, that is so much better. Finally. Okay, good. Awesome. So just for the people who are wondering what that is and why I'm so happy about it, if we start as Macedon, as I always fucking do, if we were on the trade overview and I switched to destination, if we play the game a little bit, when somebody offers us a trade deal, which is hopefully going to be soon, basically when someone offered you a trade deal, this would then reset. Like say I was ordering it by trade goods, yeah, that would have happened as well. There, that would have been enough. Basically, as soon as this came in, this would then get reset to be sorting by origin or resorting by destination, whatever the default is. I don't even know. But it would reset this order that you're setting it in, and that is no longer the case. That's been an issue since 1.0 as well, so it's fucking phenomenal that that's been fixed. Very, very happy with that. Fixed integration, family event not awarding popularity if no families are accepted. I didn't know it did that. Okay, fair enough. Fixed Weir of War event firing for mercenary armies. I am not sure what that event is, but yeah, it's been fixed now. Fantastic. Fixed broken localization strings in befriend the tribe Roman mission tasks. Forget what that is. Fixed issue where allied countries couldn't be made into feudatories in the Siciliate overtures task for Syracuse. That was actually kind of an annoying one when I was doing a little run as Syracuse. I was like, okay, I can make these guys friendly with me by allying them, and then they might become a bit more bigger chance to have them become a feudatory. I didn't know at the time that it would completely cancel the ability for them to become my feudatory, so it's good that that's been fixed. Religious subjects released by Spartan Athens in their missions. Not something I've done yet, but I mean, it's not something I've done with any of the countries. Releasing a subject in a mission, other than what was it, Epicratea for Carthage, I don't think I've done it. Fix the switch loyalties of clan leaders from one clan to another event. Fix it so the economies tabs is no longer translucent when you have no subjects. Aha, that's what was causing that. This thing was being translucent. Maybe, there we go. This part was all grayed out, and I guess when you had, if you had subjects, then it would going to be normal. I'd only ever seen it like this grayed out, because I don't think I've had subjects since that change came into effect. So that's good that that's fixed, of course. Fix the OpenGL shader issues being related to map modes with colored water when zoomed in. I believe that is related to naval range, perhaps? Yes, it is. Yes, it absolutely is. So when you zoomed in enough, this stopped being visible at all. Like, you zoomed in enough and it turned just into water. So that's been fixed now. You can zoom all the way in and all the way out with naval range map mode on. And finally, fixed broken localization string and wealth modifier for expand estate character scheme, and probably other literally unplayable typos somewhere. All typos are literally unplayable, just saying. So yeah, that's good. It's been fixed. I like it. I like it. It is very nice. This, however, does not change the issue with, you know, like 20 years in, having no women to marry at all. That's a problem. I feel like that really needs to be fixed. There are mods available that basically, or I say there's mods available, I saw on the forum someone was creating a mod that would just basically out of thin air invent a woman every 10 years of around age 20, so that you would always have somebody that you could marry. I don't know if that mod got finished, but that seems like probably a decent idea. Just invent a woman. Or even a decision like you have in CK2 to present a debutante. Like, just something, because when you get a new ruler, say you didn't have any kids, and your next ruler is like your uncle who you've not been able to organize a marriage for, and he's 55 and there's no available women. It's a big problem, and it can cause, you know, quite a lot of issues if you don't manage to get it sorted. The only way I've found to try and sort it is by going into the character screen, searching for a woman of the young age, like say this 11-year-old, and then, you know, favoriting her. But there's no age here, so, you know, you check in a couple of years' time, and oh, she's actually married now. She's 16 years old and she's married. I missed it by a couple of months. That's really quite annoying. I feel like that needs to be fixed. That's a pretty big need. Is there any dev responses that we can have a look at? Honestly, making non-dominant cultures 20% less effective is a step in the wrong direction. I'll just culture convert more and ignore religion. I disagree. I quite think it's a decent idea. It addresses the power of the large Diadochi a little. Culture conversion, for better or worse, is the way things are for now. Any changes to that would be feature level and would not be the kind of thing coming in a hotfix. Yeah, exactly. That's it's the next update. Everything to do with culture is going to be in the next update. So I guess just sort of nerfing the Diadochi a smudge before the hotfix before the next patch comes out it might be a decent-ish idea. But anyway, that is the changelog. That is everything that's new and changed and fixed in 1.4.2. To make sure that you have this, it is the live version, so you shouldn't have to do anything specific. But just to check if you have it, if you right-click on Imperator Rome in your Steam library, go to Properties, on the Betas tab, you should be on None, opt out of all beta programs. Don't be on anything else, basically. Just this one. This one is the one you want. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do. And if it's not, and you can't, if it's not live, basically just restart Steam, and you should be able to get it updated fairly quickly, no problem at all. So anyway, that is the 1.4.2 hotfix. It's live right now. Go and play with it, see what the changes do to your playstyle, and let me know in the comments if there is anything that you feel is missing or something you feel really needs to be fixed, because I have a feeling some of the devs watch my videos, so they may be reading the comments as well. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.